Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Analytical Line. I'm Josh Davis. As always, I thank you for joining me. I know it's the off season, and I'm not producing weekly content, but there's been interesting stuff going on with Penn State football and basketball lately, so I wanted to give an update for you all. Give a quick couple of things that I've been thinking about and that's been on my mind. The first is with Yanic Konan Niederhauser staying in the NBA draft. What a combine and last couple of weeks for him. It's obviously the decision that's best for him. He's gone from looking like he's going to be one of the best players in the Big Ten next year, going from maybe late second rounder to, he's a late first rounder for sure. And there are some teams that might take a flyer on him even earlier. It's what the NBA is looking for now. I mean, athletic 7-footer that led the Big Ten in blocks last year. You look at the success that Zach Edey has had and such a similar build for Niederhauser and maybe even better movement there. So yeah, as a Suns fan, I hope we get to take him in the early second round. I don't think he'll drop that far, but no matter where he goes, I will be rooting for Yanic in the NBA. But as of right now, we've seen 7 new players come into Penn State basketball for next season. The freshmen are guards Caden Mingo, Reggie Groden, and Milatunka, who we just got from Turkey a couple days ago, and he'll be a 19-year-old freshman for us. Really excited about those 3 guys. Then we got forward Mason Blackwood, and then centers Justin Hauser and Ivan Juric. We got transfer forward Josh Reed from Cincinnati, and then we retained Eli Rice, Freddie DeLeon, and Dominic Stewart from last year, but that's only 3 guys from last year's roster coming back. And even though we just had the best recruiting class in Penn State history, and it's not even close, like this was a top 25 class, absolutely loaded with elite talent everywhere, you don't want to have a roster mostly comprised of freshmen, and that's where we're at right now. There are still 3 scholarships that I expect us to fill in the coming weeks and months, but as of right now, the roster is young and thin. We need some seniors to come in and lead this group, especially with Niederhauser leaving, because I figured that would be someone who we'd lean on. And at the center position, you look at where we were at going into this offseason, it was, okay, we got Niederhauser, going to be one of the best players in the Big Ten. You got Kachi Enza and Miles Goodman, and I knew one of them would probably transfer. I didn't think all 3 of them would be gone. And like I said, that leaves you with Juric, Hauser, someone else maybe. It's really thin now at center in terms of experience. I'm really excited for what Juric and Hauser can do down the line, but those are, true freshmen coming in. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is with football, we got some kickoff times announced for Nevada, which is going to be 3:30 on CBS. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's cool. What everyone wants to know is Oregon, 7:30 on NBC, Saturday, September 27th in Happy Valley. The Whiteout. It's been announced. And I love that it's been announced this early because that really helps people start getting tickets. They're already up to $250, and it's going to keep rising throughout the summer as people make plans to be at that game, especially for Oregon fans. That might be a bucket list thing for them. When was the last time we played Oregon in Happy Valley for a whiteout? And it's like, exactly, that's never happened before. And so for those fans, that's going to be the one road game on their schedule that they're going to be looking out to go to. And it's a big trip for them coming all the way across the country. And so, yes, this was the clear game that should have been the whiteout on our schedule. It made sense. It was our first Big Ten game early in the season. Definitely our biggest home game. I mean, Oregon will likely be a top 10 team. They should avoid some upsets early in the season. They play Montana State, Oklahoma State, Northwestern, and Oregon State. I'd be surprised if they lost any of those games, and they should be ranked in the top 10 when they play us. I wouldn't be surprised if game day came to town for that. It should be a national event, as always. But my little gripe, and I know it's kind of irrelevant for this year, it's just been the ongoing thing of now this is 6 straight whiteouts that have not been against Ohio State or Michigan. I mean, you think about the whiteouts that I will have experienced as a student. You can go back to 2021 Auburn, then you got Iowa, Minnesota, Washington, SMU, and now Oregon. That's awful. That's brutal. Back when, even just before COVID, it was, oh, the timeout first play in 2019 Michigan. That was probably the last really memorable whiteout. And of course, the 2021 one against Auburn, yeah, when a top SEC team comes to town, I'm okay with it. And then last year, the Noon whiteout in the playoff was a ton of fun. So many great moments against Kevin Jennings in that game. But I'm saying, even though Oregon will be a good team and this will be a fun game, it doesn't hit the same as those Ohio State, Michigan whiteouts. It's a shame that we don't play one of them at home every year, because then you have years like this where you don't really have a big game at home. We could say this is a big game against Oregon. It's a Big Ten championship rematch. You would love to win this game, all that. Penn State fans don't care as much about playing Oregon as they do about Ohio State or Michigan. There was the whole thing with an anonymous Big Ten coach last season. He was kind of complaining that Penn State as a program only cares about Ohio State and Michigan, and that's 100% true. As a fan base, as a program, we care about those two games on our schedule every year. And now that we don't have those two games on our schedule every year, that can make it so that now we really only might care about Ohio State on our schedule this year. I know that isn't, like, that's really dumbing it down. We have some really tough road games at Iowa and at UCLA. And of course, this Oregon game is not a gimme. But I would also be surprised if we didn't beat Oregon by a couple touchdowns. And that's not the case in the prior seasons where your big game against Ohio State or Michigan, honestly, we've been expecting to lose it. So that's the thing where this year is, I'm expecting us to win every single home game by a couple touchdowns, and especially these early season games against Nevada, FIU, Villanova. You're expecting very easy wins in these games, potentially taking the starters out at halftime, that sort of thing. It's pretty hard to envision Penn State missing out on the 12-team playoff this season, and whether that means a home game in Beaver Stadium or a Week 1 bye, no matter what, those playoff games are the big games that we expect. The regular season, like I said, you got the road games at Ohio State, Iowa, and UCLA, with this Oregon game being the biggest game at home. It's a fun schedule, man. But like I said, so much is going to ride on that game to Columbus on November 1st. Everyone knows it, and I think we are better equipped to go head-to-head with the Buckeyes this year than we have been in recent years. Got some more baseball content coming up on the channel. I want to thank you all for supporting that StatCast video. So much love came from that. And yes, there will be more baseball content soon to come on the Analytical Lion. Thank you all for listening. As always, go Nittany Lions.